Welcome back to Fall, Year 2 of the Stardew Valley Min-Max and 100% Perfection Guide. We're covering the rest of Fall, days 21 through 28, where we continue to expand our Starfruit wine gains to make maximum profit while we wait for the rest of the cooking recipes to achieve perfection. We begin with Fall Day 21, which is a Sunday, so of course we must remember to learn the Queen of the Sauce recipe before anything else. As usual, we tend to our daily farm chores, and some of these chores you might be thinking, what's the point anymore? And you would be right that there is no real purpose to some chores like petting the animals and processing the animal products, since they make minimal profit. Casting our cheese isn't too important either, but we do use them as healing items at least. But other chores are still very important, like harvesting our greenhouse starfruit for a constant supply to turn into wine, and smelting ores. Iridium bars will still make quite nice profit, and we need iron and copper for kegs, and chipping hardwood into wood for kegs as well. And we continue collecting jades to turn into valuable staircases for skull cavern dives. And speaking of that, after our chores we head to the desert trader to turn all of our jades into 412 staircases. After chopping the desert trees we warp back to the farm, and every time we're back at the farm we will likely take time to cycle the machinery that is ready, mainly the furnaces and wood chippers. We also put wheat in the ready keg shed kegs to brew another round of beer while we wait for these kegs to line up with our starfruit wine kegs once again. We craft 10 new heavy tappers and place them at our quarry tapper farm and collect the oak resin that is ready there. After this we spend the rest of the day in the mines grinding for radioactive ore and hardwood. Moving on to day 22, the first thing I do is quickly run out of the house and turn off the Junimo hut by our flowers so we can have them on display for the last few days of fall. We take care of the same farm chores as usual, then warp onto Ginger Island and head over to the Golden Walnut Room and select Keys' Prismatic Grange challenge, which we have not completed yet. But that will change soon, as we brought all of the items we need to complete this challenge, and what is needed is 100 of each red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple items. The easiest way to complete this challenge, if you have a fair amount of money, is pointed out by the wiki to just purchase the items you need. Spaghetti, copper ore, hay, salad, and Joja Cola can all be bought at various vendors for under 75,000 G all combined. As for the purple item, there isn't one that I know of that can be bought, so I would suggest using bug meat as an easy choice. But of course, we are min-maxing and I want to save even just pocket change here, so rather than buying items, we'll use what we already have, and I decide to use cranberries, copper ore, sap, green algae, blueberries, and bug meat. We drop 100 of each in Keys' bin and finish Keys' Prismatic Grange challenge. We finish collecting resources from the island and return to the valley and select Gus's famous omelet special order once again, and right away collect the eggs from the coop and drop them off in his fridge. We pay a quick visit to the museum, where we are met with Elliot's 8-Heart event. A while back we received a letter from Elliot pointing out this gathering between 1 p.m. and 7 p.m., but he was so kind as to wait until the day he knew we would finally show up to read his new book. He did manage to invite quite the crowd, and once he begins reading his book, we must have dozed off as our screen fades out, and we wake back up. It looks like half of the townsfolk that were here forgot they had a cake in the oven or something, but we remained diligent and sat through Elliot's entire novel. Or wait, that was only the first chapter. Time to run over to Mayor Lewis's house for those divorce papers. While we're at the museum, we grab all the rewards we had not yet from Gunther and bring them back to the house. After some more farm cycles, we once again end the day in the mines. We begin day 23, and what do we have today? We brew coffee. Lots and lots of coffee. For the entire day. 20-ish real-life minutes of inserting coffee beans into our keg shed kegs, and maybe a little bit of other farm chores as well, but mainly coffee, and we did manage to get through at least 10 stacks today and are left with around 2 stacks of coffee beans left. Somehow, even with all that caffeine, we pass out at 2 a.m. and move on to day 24, which is a Starfruit wine keg cycle day. There's basically 2 things we want to accomplish today. Of course, we want to cycle our existing kegs, but also craft as many new kegs as we can, which will be limited by the amount of wood we have, so we will try to cycle as many rounds of hardwood in the wood chippers as we can before we should head to the desert to place down the kegs. We begin the cycle with our keg shed kegs, then take care of the outside of the farm kegs at the bus stop, along the road, and inside the tunnel. We chop any trees around Linus's tent for more wood, then grab all the oak resin by the railroad. Next we chop all the trees around the Adventurers Guild, then grab all the oak resin from the quarry. We return to the farm with all the wood we have gathered, and are able to craft 148 new kegs to place at the desert. But first we cycle all of the existing kegs in the desert, and then can begin placing down the new ones. We fill out the bottom of the map as much as we can with kegs, but keeping room for the tree, of course. We move to the top of the desert, and I begin filling the kegs in vertical columns, and right away insert the Starfruit in, but I realize that doing horizontal rows of kegs might fit better here, so I begin to place them down now in horizontal rows. During our next cycle, we may adjust some of the other kegs to line up better with these rows, so for now I only fill out the very top of the map with kegs. We place some more kegs back by the map center, and of course we still have a 2 wide gap here where we can ride our horse up to Skull Cavern as quick as possible. We are able to place down all but 14 of the kegs, but run out of time and pass out. We move on to day 25, a super luck day, and begin by cycling the hardwood chippers. With a bit more wood, we can craft 10 more kegs and place the 24 additional kegs at the desert right away and throw in some starfruit. Since wine takes slightly less than 7 days to brew, hopefully these ones will line up with the rest of our kegs since we began brewing very early in the day. Oh, and of course, we grabbed a magic rock candy as today is Thursday. We return to the farm and harvest and replant the starfruit in our garden pod sheds. Looking to the future, I think we may want to build some more sheds for garden pod setups so we can produce even more starfruit. Placing all the new kegs in the desert has now put us at a grand total of 980 kegs, and we're only producing 874 starfruit per week, so we'll definitely need more starfruit to keep up with our kegs now. This will be one of our main goals during winter, to set up some more garden pod sheds, and also possibly upgrade the island farm with hyper speed grow and pressure nozzles. We'll spend the rest of the day taking advantage of the super luck in the mines, hoping for lots of radioactive ore, which we'll need for that hyper speed grow, but we're only able to get around 44 ore. We pass out and move on to day 26, a bat luck day. I decided to say good day for a Skull Cavern dive, as I actually find it more worth it now to spend super luck days at the mines grinding for radioactive ore. And we also really had no other chores to tend to today, and are needing more of most other ores, so we spend the day at Skull Cavern and collect a decent 826 iridium ore, and a good amount of others as well. Day 27 is the day of the Spirits Eve festival, which we can arrive at between 10 and 11:50 p.m. We begin with all of our farm chores, then collect the tap goods from the quarry, and spend most of the day in the mines. At 11:30 we enter the town to begin the festival, and just for fun I want to buy another witch scarecrow, but forgot to have money on me. But with the power of the iridium trash can, we can throw out 14 triple shots and gain enough to cover the cost. Other than buying the shop items for fun, there's not much reason to attend the festival. While we're here, we will navigate the maze to find the golden pumpkin, which sells for only 2500 G. Not too exciting. Back at the farm, we cycle our machinery and pass out. We begin day 28, the final day of fall, and learn the Queen of the Sauce recipe. We get 3 rounds of copper smelting before smelting some iridium, and then bring 200 iridium bars to Clint to sell for 300,000 G. We stop at Robin's and order the construction of a new shed, which we'll place down below our wood chippers. We warp to the desert and use the rest of our money on 700 starfruit seeds, then bring them back to the farm to harvest and replant the starfruit in the greenhouse. The time is nearing noon, and there is one secret note that we have not obtained the reward from. Secret note number 13, which has us check the bush above the playground on the last day of the season at 12 o'clock noon sharp, and we do this and obtain the Junimo plush. We have now found every single secret note reward, which is not a requirement for perfection, but more of just a personal goal. We head to Ginger Island and take care of our starfruit harvest there, and I'm hoping by next harvest, which will be in 8 days, we can gather enough radioactive ore to craft enough hyper speed grow to upgrade and refurbish this farm here. We continue chores back at the farm, then harvest as many pumpkins as we can reach in our lower left field. We were able to grow 14 giant pumpkins, and these will not actually ever wilt, and we can keep them here until we chop them down, so I decided to keep them around for now. The pumpkins make minimal profit compared to Starfruit wine, so I'm not worried about collecting every single one of them, and rather leave the giant ones for fun. We're nearing the end of the day, and the end of this month of fall. As you may be able to tell, the further in a run of Stardew Valley, the more repetitive the days get. We've reached a point where, other than grabbing the cooking recipes for perfection, our only focus now is making as much Starfruit wine for profit as possible. This means taking care of cycles of kegs, tappers, and Starfruit harvests, while trying to expand all of these at the same time. We've already expanded our oak resin production quite a bit, and have found chipping hardwood to give us quite a bit of wood for kegs, and we will of course keep expanding our kegs in winter, but our main focus will be on increasing Starfruit production. And you may think, well, increasing Starfruit production for just a few more weeks of the year won't add to much more profit, and you would be right, but we still can see just how much Starfruit wine we can produce per week. My goal is to reach at least 1,000 Starfruit wine per week, which would earn us around 3 million G per week. So winter should be pretty quick in terms of what I cover in videos, but if anyone has any fun ideas or challenges to try during winter, feel free to leave a comment. I've also made a Discord where I'm happy to interact and hope to build a community, so I'll leave the link for that in the description. And as always, thank you for watching, and goodbye.